And welcome back to another week of the Mortgage Acceleration Q&A. Everybody, welcome back. This is Sam Kwak, one of the Kwak Brothers. Amazing to be here Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central Time. It's still in the morning for us here in Midwest. I know you guys are in East Coast. You guys are already at noon, afternoon. For those who are Pacific as well as Mountain Time, welcome in. Still in the morning. Amazing. We're halfway through. It's hump day. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So a couple of things we want to change in format with this show is that we are no longer doing calls with individuals that are not part of our program. In fact, we have a lot of individuals in our program now, which is amazing, that are asking questions. So we're only opening the hotlines for the individuals that are part of our program. And for those who are not part of our program, we are still going to go and watch our chat box so we can answer some questions on the chat box. So, which actually reminds me, I think I'm gonna need my laptop to see all the chats. These guys, the production team is leaving, so yeah, David is gonna grab my bag, which has my laptop, and I'm gonna be able to see questions that way. These guys are busy with their own shoots, so they're gonna be taking off here soon. But phone lines are open. Thank you, David. Phone lines are open for individuals that are part of our program, which I'm gonna go and answer the phone, which is right here. If you guys are part of our program, you should already have gotten our phone number, starting with 708, and then you guys can call in. For those who are not part of our program, definitely would like to implore you to join, but if not, you can always ask your question through our top chat. So we're gonna open up for questions such as real estate investing, owner financing. Specifically for Wednesdays, we're reserving our time for mortgage acceleration, debt acceleration, velocity banking. I mean, it's got so many names. I think we need to figure out how to get into one single name, because I think there's a lot of confusion with different names for the strategy. So fire away if you guys have any questions. I'm gonna open up my bag, get my laptop out so I can read your guys' question, and just want to make sure you guys know I'm still fighting my cold here. I might get little moments of my voice cracking. That's because I'm still fighting my cold from last week. So if you guys seen the last week's live, I was starting to get into that cold mode, and now I'm trying to leave. My body's trying to get rid of all the icky goo stuff, right? So here we go, guys. For those who are part of our program, you got our phone number to call. If you guys are not part of our program, go and fire your question. David, do we have any questions so far? Do we know?
Let's see.
Just want to make sure that we're getting
no questions right now.
no questions so far. All right. So I'll answer some questions that I've been getting. That's usually what I like to do. We get questions quite a bit over the. We get quite a bit of questions over the email, and we're not live every day, so we can't answer those questions right off the bat. But one of the big questions that we get is, again, time and time again, people ask us, Sam, why not we just put the extra money into principal balance instead of doing this whole HELOC thing? And if you guys been part of our show for a long time, you guys know my answer. But for those who are brand new joining us in the show, welcome in. But the whole reason why we don't want to do just the extra principal payment on the mortgage is two main things. Number one is if you go and put anything that's left over in your monthly income and throw it all in your principal balance, well, you're sort of locking your money away in your mortgage. Yes, it's gonna save you interest. Yes, it's gonna save you time, but you're putting yourself in a position where you don't have that flexibility of being able to draw that money out during emergency. Now, of course, when I say when I talk about the emergency fund, people often argue back saying, well, Sam, that's why we have a 6 months of savings saved up for emergency. Well, my counter argument to that is, well, why not take that 6 months of saving, okay, whatever the amount is, throw it in a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, saving you anywhere between 5 to 7% of interest by the amount. So let's say the amount of money that you have saved up in your savings account is $50,000. Now, what are you actually earning in that savings account? What, like 2%, right? 1 or 2%? I mean, it's a joke. It really is. You're not earning more than probably 3%, if you're that lucky, that is. So if you're earning 2 to 3% in your savings account, why not just throw that money into a home equity line of credit where it's going to save you 5 to 7% just by leaving the money there? And you get access to the home equity line of credit, the money in the home equity line of credit whenever you want. So the strategy, the debt acceleration strategy, actually puts you in a much more safer position because A, you get to access the principal balance, the equity of your home when you truly need it, not when you need to buy a house, or not when you need to buy a TV, not when you need to buy a new boat, not when you need to buy a new Mercedes-Benz that you don't need, okay? That's not what the money's for, right? We wanna spend and invest our money into something that's wise and that's actually gonna generate money for us, not on some junk. But what we're doing with the home equity line of credit is that it gives us security, gives us the flexibility. We can tap into the cash later on in the future. All at the same time, it's saving us a lot of money just by parking our money there. And if you guys are still skeptical about this whole home equity line of credit thing, it's reported that 1 out of 4 Australians living in Australia is using this strategy to pay off their debt and their mortgage. So you gotta hand it to those Australians. They figured it out before we could, us Americans. So definitely something to think about when it comes to, should I put extra money into the principal of the mortgage, or should I just should I use the home equity line of credit? Okay, I'll tell you guys right now, using the home equity line of credit is gonna be much more safer if you guys are using it within the context of our strategy. If you use the home equity line of credit out of the context of our strategy, all bets are off, okay? You can do a lot of damage with the home equity line of credit. It can be dangerous if it's misapplied and misused. But if you use within the context of what we teach, I think you guys are gonna be phenomenal. So I'm gonna jump into YouTube so I can answer some questions that you guys may have. My computer just fired up.
There's two questions.
Okay, there's a question from the chat.
So Lone Newton says that he just joined your accelerator last night.
Oh, excellent.
He says he lives in Fairfax and
Good town.
he doesn't have a multiplex for rental. So how about buying a condo to rent? What's your thought?
Yeah, so Lone, if you want to call us in, that's great. I mean, if you don't want to call, that's totally fine. I know some people can be shy on the phone, but Lone Newton is asking, he just joined the program. Congratulations. He's asking, I don't have the money to get into apartments? Is that what he's asking, or?
It says here we don't have multiplex for rental.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I'm assuming he's saying Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, you can get into duplexes or 3 units, right? 4 units. Now, something to think about is if you live in some of these coastal cities, whether it's East Coast or West Coast, a lot of times these coastal cities tend to be expensive in terms of the price, the purchase price of the property. So an alternative thing to look at is to study some of the other markets, such as here in the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, Arkansas. Some of these properties here in the Midwest state, the purchase price tends to be lower, but the rents are relatively fairly high in comparison to the purchase price. So I know it's not like New York where the rents are like $3,000, $4,000 a month, not at least here in the Midwest, but I bought a property many years ago, $90,000 purchase price, single family home, and now it's being rented for $1,250. I'm gonna say $1,250 basically to round things up. Thank you, Chris. $1,250. So that's not a bad investment after paying all of our expenses, our insurance, our taxes, management, maintenance. We usually cash flow around $100 a month. So it's not like over the top superstar deal, but it's pretty good. It gets us going, puts us an extra $100 in our pocket, and so that's something you might want to think about. Lone, is consider other markets. If your current market doesn't have the property or the investment vehicle for you to invest, go look at other markets. For example, Daniel and I invest in Virginia. We have some development deals in Virginia. We have deals in Indiana. We're looking at deals in Michigan. So really, although our office and our operation is here in Illinois, we don't, it doesn't mean that we're bounded. We're limited by Illinois. So I'm gonna jump into YouTube right now so that I can read the questions for you guys. I know Dave and Chris has to take off soon. Which, by the way, these guys are phenomenal. If you guys want to give them a digital clap, okay? I know we can't hear you, but these guys are a phenomenal team to have when it comes to doing a broadcast like this. None of this would be possible without those guys. So let me go in and Sorry, my voice keeps on cracking. It's the cold that I'm fighting, guys. It sounds like I'm going through a second puberty. It's really weird. So let's go ahead and answer some more questions. I'm jumping on YouTube right now. If you guys are part of our program, you can always call us in. We sent you an email about 30 minutes ago for those who are part of our program with the phone number to call. Do check your email if you guys want to get your call. If you want to get questions answered through the phone, okay? I got my phone right here, so if it rings, I'm gonna answer and have a conversation with you guys. So I'm gonna jump into YouTube right now. Oh, there it is. It's weird watching myself on live. It's kind of weird. And so let's look at any question. Dave, while I get this loaded up, do we have any other question that?
Not right now.
Okay. All right, and by the way, thank you so much, guys, for jumping in on Wednesday mornings at 11 o'clock Central Time. I know some of you guys are at work, some of you guys might be taking a break, some of you guys might be doing other things, and I really appreciate you guys doing that. So Joel Girbolini, welcome in, Joel. Joel is saying, would you buy a $60,000 property with a HELOC instead of a bank loan? What happens if the market crash happens and the bank freezes the HELOC? So here's how you minimize the potential for the bank to freeze your HELOC. Now, I'm not gonna tell you guys they're not gonna freeze your HELOC at all, because obviously that'd be a false statement, but something you can do to sort of minimize the chance or the possibility for a bank to freeze your HELOC is, number one, don't go crazy and get aggressive and use 100% of your HELOC. Okay, my suggestion normally and generally speaking is use less than 30% of what your HELOC allows. So if you have a $100,000 HELOC, don't use more than $30,000 of it. Puts you in a jeopardy in a position where you don't want to be in. And so if the market does crashes, you're not going to feel that pressure, the crunch of the home value dropping, and you're not going to be over leveraged. The key is not to be over leveraged. Not to have more debt than what your home is actually worth. So if your property is worth $100,000, and let's say the HELOC is the only loan that you have, you're not gonna go and use all $100,000 of a HELOC, okay? That puts you in a danger, and I don't insist on you doing that. We suggest 30, 40%, no more than 50%, but my suggestion is 30% at maximum. Now, Joel, I think something that you should do is take advantage of owner financing. I think owner financing is a phenomenal way. I know it takes a little bit of skill, takes a little bit of studying and mastering, but I believe that owner financing is ultimately going to put you in a position where you're not going to risk a degree of foreclosure that you would with a bank. My suggestion is to understand how owner financing works, negotiate for owner financing, put very little down as possible, use very little cash, and if you are using cash, my suggestion is learn to use other people's money, right? Raise capital from other individual so that you're putting other people's money in for down payment, negotiate for owner financing, split the equity and cash flow, however you want with that partner. That's my suggestion. And for myself and Daniel, we stay away from the bank financing as much as possible. We usually buy either owner financing or cash, okay? We try to stay away from bank financing as much as possible because there's a degree of risk, especially in an investment property, when you're using a bank financing or bank loan, however you go about it. Okay. Joe is saying shout out to Chris for being behind the scenes. Got to give love to the people behind the scenes. By the way, it's not just Chris. We got Dave as well on the quote unquote cockpit. Okay, so shout out to both of those guys. All right, that's Joel. Appreciate your question, Joel. And of course, for those who are watching this, we got several people watching this today. Go on and ask questions. I'm gonna take a sip of water here because I'm trying to get rid of this cold, for crying out loud. It's been putting a stop on my on our video recording process. Okay, we got another question from Augie H. Welcome in, Augie. Good morning to you. I'm looking to apply for a line of credit for my next fix and flip repairs. Should I get under LLC or personal name? So Augie, that question is depending on your financial strength. Is it possible for you to get a line of credit in an LLC? Yes. Now, it also depends on what type of line of credit you want to get. You can get a business line of credit. You can also get a construction line of credit, which is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it exists. And you can get, of course, a home equity line of credit. Now, when it comes to a home equity line of credit, using an LLC or any entity name, whether it's a corporation, LLC, it's gonna have its own challenges. You're gonna have your own challenges, and a lot of times banks don't like lending to LLCs mainly because it's kind of like, I don't want to say this in a way that it sounds too simple because the answer can be complex, but in the eyes of the banks, if you are using an LLC, it's sort of like hiding behind a veil, right? The banks will like to see you personally guaranteeing any sort of loan because at the end of the day, the banks don't want you to get away with not paying. That's essentially what the banks are in for. So the banks want you to pay, and a way for you to pay, or for them to guarantee that you're gonna pay, is you personally being on the hook. So I'm not saying it's possible. It's not possible to get a line of credit and an LLC. It's rather difficult. We're actually going to be working on a video on this. We're going to shoot a whole entire video on how to get a home equity line of credit on a rental or an LLC. We're going to be talking about that. But typically what banks want to see is that your financial strength, your balance sheet, how much asset you have, how much liability you have. In other words, you have to be very bankable, right? You got to have a lot of assets. You got to have a lot of wealth. You got to have a lot of equity. Banks want to see that you have a lot of skin in the game. They want to see that you're stable, that you have lots of liquidity. So that's what the banks want to see. So for those that are brand spanking new to real estate investing, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get a line of credit, especially on an investment property or an LLC. If you're down the road, you have some, excuse me. If you have some experience and you have a lot of rental properties, you've done a lot of flips, it might be a little easier for you to get a line of credit because the bankers are going to see that you have some experience, you have some track record under your belt, and they may see that and say, you know what, you're less of a risk. We're going to give you a line of credit. Okay, so the answer highly depends on your experience and your skill level, but I wouldn't be discouraged. I wouldn't be discouraged mainly because if you're an amateur, there's always room for growth. There's always ways for you to gain experience. Again, owner financing is a good one. It's a great way to get started. That's how my brother and I were able to go from 0 to 75 rental units in just 1 year. So definitely keep on working on that. Don't give up on the idea of getting a line of credit on an LLC or rental property. We're actually about to release a video called Should You Get an LLC? We're going to be launching that, I think, next Tuesday. Yeah, so we're going to be launching that video next Tuesday. We're going to explain what LLC does and how it's working for us. So we're going to go ahead and share that video with you guys. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, mainly because we want you to get notified about our future videos that we're going to be launching. So if you guys want to get notified on future videos that we do, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you get notified anytime we release a new video. We release a new video on Tuesday at noon Central Time and Thursday at noon in Central Time. And of course, Mondays and Wednesdays, we reserve that time for live videos like you guys are here to watch. So yeah, guys, I don't see any other question. I got Joel asking a question here again. I'm in Miami, interested to get properties in Detroit area because Miami is too expensive. How can I get people to do owner financing when I'm very far? So that is a tough one, and mainly what we do, Joel, at least in our business, in our operation, is that we have boots on the ground, meaning we have partners and we have trained individuals that live in that area. So if we want to, let's say, start investing in Detroit, we're gonna do either of two things. One, we're gonna be looking for some of the top players in Detroit that's already doing investing, that's already buying properties, flipping properties, and they understand the real estate market very, very well. That's the first thing. Now, if we can't find that individual, typically what we do is that we look to coach somebody. We try to get a coaching client in that area. We coach that person, sort of groom that person to become a partner. And about a couple months later, they can handle some of the work that we give them. And then we work together in that manner. So If you're looking to invest far, you're definitely gonna need boots on the ground, so to speak. You're gonna need a team to help you manage not only the rehab process, but the management process, the acquisition, the disposition. So you're gonna need some people to help you and to partner with you in that aspect if you're looking to invest far away. Cool. All right, any other question, guys? And if you guys are a part of our program, you guys can always call in through our hotline. If you guys have joined, you should have gotten an email from us with the phone number this morning. So go and call in. My phone is ready right here, as you guys can see. Otherwise, if you guys are not part of the program, there is the chat box. I am paying attention to the chat box, so go ahead and ask us questions through the chat box. And if you guys hear that my voice is a little sour or sore or grouchy, that's because I'm fighting a cold. I don't know how it happened. Maybe it was a stress thing. Okay, we got our first caller here, Mr. Charles Williams. So here we go. Hey, you're live on YouTube with Sam here.
Charles from Denver, Colorado.
Hey, how's it going, Charles?
It's going great. I have a question for you about the HELOC, getting the
Yes.
HELOC. I just tried to get one with my credit union, and they used assessed value of the property
Okay.
instead of comparables in the area. Is that what they usually use?
So when you say assessed value of the property, are you talking about the county assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they use.
So that's actually pretty interesting. So you're in Denver, Colorado, right? You're not in like a rural area or anything like that?
Right. I'm in Denver.
Huh. So that's actually very interesting because a lot of banks either will do comps, so they'll do one of three things or more. They may do a combination. They may do a drive-by appraisal, which simply involves someone driving by and looking at the property and doing an appraisal that way. Second thing is obviously a full-on appraisal, which may take hours, 3 hours or 4 hours. It really depends on how big the property is, and they're gonna charge you for it, obviously. The third thing is you're gonna do just simple comps or a BPO, broker's price opinion, which is often done on short sales. So it's interesting that the credit union is using a county assessment rather because unless the county is really good at assessing market value of a given property, but it's not been the case in my experience. The county is usually far off when it comes to determining the price. But if that's how they're gonna go about it, if that's their metrics as far as measuring the value of the property, then that's, I mean, I would assume that's fair if they're not all over the board. But is the county assessment is something that you want to? Is that more favorable to you, or do you prefer to do comps or a BPO?
Comps, because the assessed value is like 70,000 below what the comps are.
Have you asked the banks about doing a full blown appraisal?
I'll call them back and find out. I just wanted to know if that was normal, because I thought they would have went with comps in the area, but when I called them and they said they used the assessed value, I'm like, that's like 70 grand way lower than what the comps are.
Now, if you do mention appraisal, they may just ask you to pay for it, which can be anywhere between $500 to $700. You know, and that might be rolling a die, right? Just to see. But if you're that confident about where and how your home is priced, then yeah, I think that's $500-600 to get additional $70,000 in value. I think that's a fair trade.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Yeah. So ask them about that, and obviously, if they won't budge, it's time to look elsewhere. Seeing that you're a part of the program, you do have access to the list. We are going to be updating that list pretty soon. But one of the banks that we are going to be planning on adding is PenFed. So definitely look into that to see if they have they can give you a more favorable terms in that situation.
Okay. Do they work with? I don't know if they do work with veterans.
I think they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, when will you be updating the new list?
Yeah, we're gonna be updating it in the next couple of weeks. We're actually gonna be making the list a little. Yeah, we're gonna be making the list smaller. We're gonna be picking the top 10, giving the best of the list possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look out for that then.
Absolutely, Charles.
And in the meantime, I'll go back and I'll talk to them about doing appraisal to the house, because as far as the comps in the area, the area that we're in, Denver market's pretty hot.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure that will work out in my favor.
Okay. Well, fantastic.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling in.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right, you too. All right, that was Charles, ladies and gentlemen. So appreciate you, Charles, for calling in. I'm not sure if we're frozen or not. I just want to make sure that we're not. So make sure. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if this is frozen or not, but just want to make sure that you guys are getting the video feed. Just want to make sure that you guys do. Let me see here. I'm gonna go and check on the feed real quick, guys. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. I hope this we're transferring just fine. Okay, so we get another. It seems like we have another question, I believe. I'm gonna go and skip this ad that's in my way. Here we go. So it says, "Hi Sam, using the HELOC strategy, is there a good time when we should pull funds from the HELOC so that we are not paying too much in daily interest? What's your approach?" So I'm gonna reread that just because I need to understand the question a little better. From the HELOC so that we're not paying. Okay, so Kian Hong, appreciate you asking the question. I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question by something that we tell our students all the time is when you're using the HELOC, it's preferred that you deposit all of your income in cash towards the earlier part of the month, and have all of your expenses leave out of the HELOC towards the end of the month. So there is a way to do that. Obviously, I'm not gonna go into too much of the detail, but when you do it that way, you're gonna actually save more interest because you're keeping the average daily balance low and keeping it low and spreading the amount of days and time apart so that you're keeping the average daily balance low all the way to the point where you're gonna take the money out of the HELOC, and then soon after you're putting money into the HELOC so that there's less days that you're incurring with a high balance, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to explain it to you in a way that it's just verbal. So hope that makes sense to you, and I appreciate all of you guys confirming my audio and how it works. So thank you so much. So Caveman Corp is asking, greetings from California. What are your requirements for mentoring? My partner and I would love what you're doing and want to know more of the finer details. Hey, I'm glad you asked, Caveman Corp. I hope to get to know your real name, by the way. So if you are interested, go and email us at info@thekwakbrothers.com. So that's info@thekwakbrothers.com. Again, that's info@thekwakbrothers. Shoot us an email asking you'd like to get some coaching and mentoring, and we'll send you the appropriate information on how you can do so. In fact, we just got someone started a couple days ago in New Jersey. Super excited to fly over to help her and get her a her first real estate deal done through our mentoring and coaching. So definitely excited to help her out. All right, any other question? And by the way, if you guys are a part of the program, I know I got another call and I missed it. If you guys are a part of our program, you guys can call in, look at your email, because I sent you an email this morning with the phone number that you can call for you to get your questions answered. So you guys can call in. If you guys are not a part of our program, the group chat is open. You guys can go and ask questions that way. How are your Wednesdays doing, guys? Mine so far so good. I'm like still stuffy here, but I'm working through it. And it is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. So, Caveman Corp is saying Galen and Marissa. There you go. We got your guys' name. Okay, so Galen and Marissa is going to be sending us an email shortly. We'll definitely look for that. Appreciate you guys emailing. So let's see what we have in time. We got 30 more minutes. Guys, we got 30 more minutes for questions. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts, comments, go ahead and throw it in there. We're only live 2 hours out of the week. So, you only get so many opportunity to ask us questions, especially almost face-to-face, right? So you guys can go ahead and type in your questions. If you guys have anything about real estate investing, paying off your debt, starting your own business, entrepreneurship, or if you want to build multiple streams of income, we can talk about that as well. Pretty much we can talk about anything that makes money or saves you money, if you like. And I think one of these days, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in a couple people to help us deliver more value. Because obviously I'm just one man. I can't do everything. So we're gonna bring in an attorney. We're gonna bring in an accountant. We're gonna bring in an banker. We're gonna go and bring all these guests into our show to get some questions answered. Have them share their expertise about legal, taxes, banking rules and regulations, banking tips and tricks that can help you guys out. Different guests we can get, and you guys can vote to see what guests you guys want us to invite into our show. And we would love to host that guest and ask and do a more of an interview style type of approach. Okay. Lone Unit is asking, question on recession coming up. If there is one coming up, that is, then it is better to wait for the housing market to soft down or just keep hunting for housing. Thanks. So let me get a sip of water before I answer that question, because I have a feeling this is going to be a long one. So Daniel and I do believe that there is going to be a recession coming soon. There's a lot of signs. And I know some of you guys might be saying, well, these guys are just smoking, blowing smoke. So one of the main reasons why we see recession coming up, a couple things, is what the monetary policy is doing right now. If you're paying attention to what the Federal Reserve is doing, they're talking about lowering the interest rates, which is, wow, that didn't take very long, because they raised rates 4 times last year. Now they're talking about lowering the rates this year. So it's kind of interesting to see where that's going, and that's signaling that the market is slowing down, which rather is interesting. So that's one of the main reasons. Again, we can talk about the details all day long. Student loan delinquency has been going up. Student loan is at right now, to count, we're about $1.6 trillion in terms of student loan. I think it's 1.7 now. We're at $1.7 trillion in terms of student loan, and the delinquency rate is going up. Now, delinquency rate is characterized by 90 days or more in terms of late payment. So that means that students who have graduated with a student loan are unable to pay their debt for more than 90 days. And we're looking at 11.7% default rate at this given moment. It's quite a bit, guys. That means for every 10 graduates, we're seeing one that's defaulting and that they're not able to pay their student debt. You know what that's doing to the credit for these students and also their future purchase power, right? They're not able to buy homes. They're not able to finance a new car. They're not able to finance even a credit card, right? If they're defaulting that badly. So we're in a situation where I believe that there is a student loan bubble. This delinquency rate's going up and up and up. Last year it was at 11.3%. I know it's not a huge increase, but I think we're going to see a dramatic increase rather soon. We see another thing is the FHA market is way too hot right now. I think people are getting way too many FHA loans. We're seeing the same sort of effect we've seen in 2007, 2006 with the subprime mortgages. Well, it's really the same thing because subprime mortgages back then were being backed by the government. Well, hello, FHA is also backed by the government. So I think we're headed sort of in that same direction that we see in 2007, 2008, but even worse because we have more consumer debt. In fact, we have 48% more consumer debt today than we've seen in 2008. That's not good. So we're gonna see a higher drop if this recession, and when this recession happens, Daniel and I believe that this recession is going to happen early 2020, either first or second quarter of 2020. If not 2020, it's going to happen 2021 after the presidential election, whoever's going to get elected. So it's a big, big question mark, and I believe it's going to happen. But we have a question. I believe we have a phone call coming in. Okay. Hello, this is Sam. You're live on YouTube.
Okay, hi Sam. This is June Daniel.
Hey, June. How's it going?
Oh, going pretty good. I am calling. My question is basically.
Yes. Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry I dropped the phone. Sorry about that.
Okay. My HELOC
Yes.
does not allow me to. I do not have a card. It does not allow me to pay any bill. It does not allow me to. The only way I can get cash is if I actually go to the bank, or they might give me. I have like 5 temporary checks, so I guess I could order them. Yeah. How would you? How would you pay your bills? How do you?
So,
I have a checking account.
Yeah. So, are you referring to bills that only accept I should say account and routing number? Is that why?
Yeah. Well, yes. The checking, the routing number.
Okay.
What I want, routing number. I wanted to attach my HELOC because I wanted to use it as a checking account.
Right. Have you had a conversation with your bank about doing like an online transfer between your checking account and the HELOC instantly on an app?
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, you can?
I can because I have my checking account and my HELOC in the same bank, so I can just kind of transfer. That's what we do.
Okay. One thing, that's an alternative. Another way you can do is ask the bank to see if they will allow for what's called an overdraft protection.
Yes.
Yep.
Overdraft.
Yeah. So, and they might charge you a fee. So do ask what type of fee they charge. So one thing you can do is if your checking account is, let's say it's $0, and you need to pay those bills that obviously you can't be using a HELOC for. Let's say you're at $0 checking account, but you have, of course, money in the HELOC. You can always go ahead and you can draw the money out of the checking account because it's $0. It's your banks automatically draw that money out of a HELOC, the HELOC. But they may charge you a fee. So do ask them what the fee is. But this is convenient because you don't have to move the money back and forth manually. It's done automatically for you. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Fantastic. All right, have a good day, June. So that was June asking a question about how to transfer money out of the HELOC easily into a checking account. I know that's a question that we get a lot, so hope that helps, June. If you are still watching. Now, back to the recession question. So I do believe that there's a recession coming. Now, the question now is, should I be investing or should I be paying off my mortgage? And in fact, we actually just made a video about that yesterday. We're gonna release that in 2 weeks. But just to give you guys a little preview, I'm not gonna say that you should never buy properties or any sort of investment vehicle during an economic boom. I mean, the economy is doing really well. Prices are really high. Yes, it is expensive, but I'm not gonna rule out the fact that there are still opportunities out there. It's just that there's less opportunities to invest in. So if you're like me and Daniel, we love hunting for off-market deals. There are still gonna be deals available. Just, it's gonna be harder for you to look for them. But in a recession period, yes, there's gonna be much more opportunities. There's gonna be much more distressed properties that you can find and invest in and take over, such as subject to strategy and so on. But one thing that the wealthy investors are doing right now is that if you look at what Warren Buffett is doing, he's literally stockpiling cash so that when the recession comes, he can go and take the cash that he has and start deploying them to buy these assets that are they're gonna be dirt cheap in this coming recession. Okay, I hope that makes sense for a lot of you guys. It's the whole adage saying of buy low and sell high. I mean, it's an obvious saying. So should you still be buying properties and investing during an economic boom? You still can. I'm not saying you shouldn't at all. You should just be looking out, being extra picky, running the numbers, and if it's not a deal, don't do it. Don't feel that pressure to, oh my gosh, I gotta do a deal because if I don't do a deal, I'm gonna feel less of a person. Therefore, I'm just gonna do a deal. Okay, don't do that. Be smart. Okay, be a good steward with your finances and your investment power. If you need to wait for the recession, and if you feel like you're gonna spend this time right now to pay off your debt, to go lean, to reserve some more cash, all respect to you. Okay, so that's my long form answer. Again, it depends on where you are in the market. You might be in a market where there's plenty of other opportunities to invest. I don't know. So that's something that you may have to answer the question yourself, really paying attention to what the market is doing. Even within your own area, it may have a completely different scenario. So do pay attention to your local market. Cool? Okay, Kevin Ballard is asking, hey, Sam, I sent an email about your property you have for sale. Yes, we do have properties for sale. Do email us about it. We would love to give you some information about the property that we're selling. Joel is asking, how can you trust a real estate agent when buying a property that is far from your market? How do you know the property is in good condition? How do you trust a realtor with the transaction? So, by the way, guys, I love my realtors. I do work with realtors. I love them to death. They make me a lot of money. They do a lot of great things. Oh, we have another call from Mr. Patrick Manning, which I know Patrick. Hey, Patrick, this is Sam. You're live on YouTube, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good. Look at you getting all this high-speed stuff.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I guess I gotta watch my mouth. I actually posted this question in the group, and wanted to. And once I saw you were live, I thought maybe I'll get a quicker answer this way, and plus we're gonna have a dialogue. I had a prior renter that moved out.
Yeah.
I'll cut this short. But they moved out, overages on their deposit, so they owe me about $3,000.
Wow.
They're not responding to my calls anymore.
Of course.
So therefore, I'm going to have to go to small claims court, which I'm okay with. I'm good with that. I've got all my documentation, no worries there. I'm predicting that there's going to be a no-show, so I would get a default judgment. But I do understand that it's my responsibility to collect, which again, I got no issue with. Filing liens on somebody or doing a garnishment or doing that paperwork. My dilemma is that where I was told they were going to have employment, I've called and they have said that individual does not work there. So I was curious, in your experience, what methods are available to find out, to verify somebody's employment? Is there anything in the IRS system or the Department of Labor that you've experienced?
So are we talking about a new tenant that's coming in?
It was a previous tenant that just moved out in March.
Okay. And what's your main reasoning for hunting them down with their employer?
Because I'm only trying to get my ducks in a row, and like I said, I'm just suspecting that it's going to be a default judgment, and they're not going to be cooperative on paying me $3,000.
Right.
Garnishment if need be.
Okay. So are you trying to reach out to them? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, I have reached out to them, and they don't respond to me any longer.
Okay. And what's the issue with the employment? Are you looking to see if you can talk to them through the employer or?
To do a garnishment if needed.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. So you are gonna, so obviously you're gonna have to get a judgment on this person. And I'm not giving, by the way, you should be talking to an attorney. I'm not giving you any legal advice, in this show. Just make sure everyone remembers that. But one thing for sure, it has to be a judgment through the obviously the judicial system. If you do decide to collect, you're gonna have to use a collection company. They're gonna charge you obviously 30-40% of what they collect. I'm not sure how much you can do about doing a garnishment. Again, you may have to talk to an attorney about this. When it comes to any sort of garnishment action, this is something I honestly don't have a whole lot of experience in, but I do have experience in going after tenants that haven't paid $4,000 or $5,000 of balance that they haven't paid. But it usually falls back to just doing a collection action on them, and that's honestly the farthest I've gone with any tenants. I haven't gone really to garnish their wages or pay. But if you wanna go as far as that, you may have to use some attorney power to see how far you can go down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you need an attorney suggestion, shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to give you some suggestion as far as which attorney that I work with. So being that you're part of our program, shoot me an email and I'll make sure you get taken care of.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so here we go. Back to the recession question. I think we're done. Actually, we're done with the recession question. Okay, yeah, so the realtor question. I love my realtors. Realtors make me money, and I make them money. We have a really good working relationship. However, that doesn't dismiss the fact that there are realtors that are gonna be only after you because they want the commission. And be very careful, because I dealt with those attorneys, realtors in the past, not attorneys, realtors in the past, where they'll shove down deals in your throat, tell you how amazing it is, but it's far from amazing, only because they want that 2.5% commission from you. Be very careful. Now, the way that you vet them, obviously, is look to see. Luckily, realtors are being regulated by the state. So go and go to the state professional licensing website. Every state has one. Here in the Illinois, we have what's called IDFPR, which governs and regulates anyone that's getting a license, realtor, cosmetologist. So go and look at the website and see if they have any complaints in the past. If they have complaints in the past, even if it's minor, okay, be careful. That's a red flag. Ask the realtor with some references, okay? And call the references. And preferably those references should be an investor. And there's always a conflict of interest when it comes to working with a realtor, and that's something that I'm always cautioning myself with. And again, I'm not bashing realtors. Please don't misconstrue me that way. But I have met realtors that conflict of interest. The realtors, they're also a real estate investor, and they come tell you that what they have is a great deal. Well, the question is, if it's such a good deal, how come they're not doing the deal, right? If it's a smoking hot deal and they tell you it's amazing, how come they're not the ones that are doing it? What if they're giving you the second class deals that they've looked at and they determine that it's a terrible deal and they just want to sell it to you for commission? So there's a little bit of conflict of interest there, and that's something that you need to look at. That's something that you have to sort of do your own diligence as far as vetting the realtor, sort of getting their references, looking to see if they have any complaints. And it takes time for those types of relationships to be built. Now, the best ways that I've gotten in touch with realtors is through referrals or through introduction. So I work with other investors in different parts of the country, and they would say, hey, I have such and such realtor, they're phenomenal, I have good experience with them, you should work with them. Now that doesn't alone release them from any sort of vetting process. I do vet them continuously, but they have a favor of someone that I already trust and work with. So when you go through any sort of partnership process, hiring a vendor, working with someone new, anyone that's gonna affect the business operation, you have to go through a vetting process to see if they have gotten any trouble in the past. Guys, the most setbacks that I had in my business was mainly because I worked with the wrong people. That's it, okay? Mainly because I worked with the wrong people. Worked with the wrong seller, worked with the wrong contractor, worked with the wrong attorney, worked with the wrong, whatever, fill in the blank, okay? But what matters the most in your business is gonna be the relationship that you have in your business that's ultimately gonna break or make your business, okay? All right, Augie is asking, next guest on taxes, please. We'll definitely have one. I don't have enough money to pay off my dealer. What do I do? I'm not really sure how to answer that question, but I guess one of the better things to do is figure out how to increase your income, how to increase your sales. If you're in your own business, sales cure all, right? Mark Cuban likes to say that a lot, and so do I. If you have challenges in finances, create value, okay? Money, if you guys are cash poor right now, if you guys are like, man, I need to make more money, how do I make more money? Guys, listen to me very, very closely. Money, follows value. Money follows value. When you create value, money will show up. And what I mean by value is you need to look to help other people first. Okay, capitalism is a very selfless way of making money if it's done correctly, that is. Because in capitalism, you get paid only what you deliver, what people want. Okay, only when you create ideas, products, services, whatever, you name it. Only when you create services and products that people actually want and are willing to pay for, you get paid. So if you look at a more of a micro sense, you need to be able to become more valuable, meaning you need to have more knowledge, you need to have more expertise, have more relationships. And when you combine and applicably and wisely apply those things in your life, in no time you're going to be able to create value for someone else, and they're going to want to pay you, right? They're going to want to pay you. The reason why I get paid to coach people and mentor people is because what's between my 6 inches right here between my ears, right? The knowledge that I have, the relationships that I have, the experience that I have. By sharing that with people, that's value for people. People are going to make more money because of what I share with them. That's why people pay me. So if you are short of money, and if you're cash poor, find ways to create value. Find ways to help other people. Find ways to solve other people's problems. Because Jim Rohn once said, if you help enough people in the world, okay, you can have anything you want. Simple as that. Okay? All right, Dragonish is saying, I have a $50,000 HELOC and want to do the velocity strategy. I am nervous to take the first step. If I am decided to move forward, how do I know how big of the first chunk I need to send to my mortgage? My suggestion, I don't know if you were here earlier in the show, but my suggestion is to never use more than 30% of your HELOC to do your chunk. So if you're working with a $50,000, then I would say 25 is half. So it would be more like 15,000, right? $15,000 chunked and apply that. Play it safe. Understand the mechanics. Of course, if you are part of our program, we'll teach you everything else. But understand that, play safe. Use a smaller chunk in the beginning, and then go ahead and attack the, and get more comfortable, and you'll be able to apply more chunking in, towards the as you get more comfortable. Okay. All right, and Jesus Zamora is saying maybe try 3 months of chunk just to get your feet wet. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. With that being said, don't use more than 30% of your HELOC just to stay on the safe side of things. Okay. All right, let's look at time right now. Okay, so it is 11:52, guys. I'll probably put 3 more minutes into the live show. We usually like to be done by noon Central Time, just so that our team over there can take a break and we can all go get lunch. But it's about you guys, right? The time that I get to spend here live on YouTube is about you. Okay, it's never about me. Okay, I don't have to do this live. Okay, I can just go over there and chill and relax. But guys, this is for you. Okay, this is ultimately about changing your life and transforming your life one question at a time. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead and fire it away. We'd love to answer your question and help you in any way possible. And of course, if you guys are a part of the program, you guys can always call in at our number. We'll go and remind you what that number is every week, so that you guys can call in during our Mondays at 11 or Wednesdays at 11. We'll go and answer your question for you guys. Cool. All right, I don't see any other question here. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes to go and fire away any question. This has been good. I think this has been one of the better episodes that we've done, and I appreciate you guys. I enjoy answering questions because I love helping people, and that's one of the first things. That's one of my first mission in doing our business. I mean, we didn't invest in a $20,000-$30,000 studio just for fun, right? We did it for you guys, and we did it so that we can help you and expand our reach and carry this message about the velocity banking debt acceleration strategy as far as possible to many people as possible. And we're actually about to invest another $20,000 in the studio in a couple weeks. You guys are gonna see the background change. We're gonna have a TV screen, a 72-inch TV screen, as well as a different background. We're gonna invest in better lights, and we already have a phenomenal camera. So you guys are gonna see some changes, which is gonna be fun. Last question. Actually, it's more of a comment. Jesus is saying, just wanted to say thanks because you were responsible for me in understanding velocity banking. Awesome. Glad I get to change your life, Jesus, and appreciate you being here. I know you've been here many times, so I appreciate you being on board and asking questions and participating in our show week in, week out. All right, guys, I'm going to go and wrap up the show today. Next Monday at 11 o'clock Central Time, Daniel will be here answering your question about real estate investing, economy, buying apartment buildings, owner financing, raising capital, you name it. Daniel will be back. And of course, I myself will be back next Wednesday here at 11 o'clock Central Time to be on live with you guys, answering your question, to have conversations with you. And super excited that you guys are going to be participating week in, week out. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Daniel will be here on next Monday. Take care.